Hi guys, welcome. I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and it is Monday, May the 23rd, and this is our Monday edition of Ask the Hair Doctor and Hair Talk. This is your time to get your questions answered. I've got so many questions for you guys. Thank you so much for those questions. Okay, let's get right down to our first question. The first question is about silk press. She said she was wondering how to keep her hair moisturized without weighing it down or it reverting. Anytime you hydrate the hair on straight hair or any hair, you're going to have a wet product there. So moisturizers will wet the hair slightly. So glaze a small amount in your hands and then smooth it in the areas that feel dry, around the hairline, around the nape area, just throughout the strand. And oil, just a small amount, glazed in your hand, and spot oil where you're not getting shine. Remember, oils and moisturizers are support products. Moisturizers are a little bit wet. Oils lubricate the hair shaft so that you can reflect that shine a lot better from the light. And if you use a large amount, you're going to weigh that down because they have to rest on the cuticle layer, and that's your top layer. So if you put too much, it'll weigh the cuticle layer down. Sometimes it's the moisturizer and oil you're choosing. So make sure that they're very skin friendly. Light on the hand will be light on the hair. Okay, next question. Said fairy knots. Oh, they're explaining to me what those fairy knots were. So I was correct. They're the little balls on the end. Okay, super. It says, Lisa, is it possible to get nice big curls with rollerset on natural hair? Like the rollerset, she'd like to rollerset my hair. I don't care to flat iron my hair. Okay, yes, I'm going to rollerset my hair. I should do it this week so that you guys can see it on our Friday edition of Ask the Hair Doctor Hair Talk. So I'm going to do that so you can see. Absolutely. You will need to use a leave-in conditioner. We have conditioners on our site, of course, if you need help with your leave-in. You want one that's very light and very friendly to the hair so it doesn't weigh it down. It's not heavy on the cuticle. And then you want to use a setting lotion. I recommend a sculptor set, something that's going to control the cuticle so we can keep that outside humidity and moisture outside, keep it out. And then it'll smooth the hair. So I'm going to show you what a roller set on natural hair looks like. It may be Friday before I get that image up, or it may be sooner. We'll see. So yes, the answer is yes. All right, said yes. Please share with us your vegan meals. Okay, I'm new at that. You always give good advice. Thank you. Well, listen, I'm excited about that because going raw and vegan. I've been a vegetarian for many years. Vegan, it's been about a year. And raw, I do raw on and off. Doing this in this last 12 months, I've been raw on and off. When it's not convenient, I'll just be vegan. And if raw means that I'm not cooking the food at all. Sometimes we're traveling and sometimes we're at a restaurant and it's just not as convenient. Always I can get a salad. So yes, I'm going to share some things with you, my breakfasts and lunches and dinners, and I'm excited about that. This is really helping me to get healthy. All right, thank you. So let's keep going. All right, our next question. Oopsie. All right, we will go down to, do you want to get them? Okay, it says 16 months of transitioning. When are you going to BC? Big chop. Please give a tip on naturals with dryness. I'm natural for 5 months and have terrible dryness at the top of my hair. It's on top of color dye. Okay. I'm just reading the question just like it was given to me, and some of these I'm just reading for the first time. I'm not going to do the BC, the big chop. That was the reason for that. I've trimmed, let's see, I've trimmed twice. I'm not going to big chop. I may trim the rest of this off. I conduct lots of studies as I do things with my hair. And one of the things that I did, I just kind of showed you how you can lose part of that relaxed hair if you're not careful. Some areas, like you'll see here, I'm still holding on to a tremendous amount of the relaxed hair. I'm not going to big chop, guys. That was the purpose of my program, is to show you don't have to big chop. As for its dryness, you need to look at your moisture levels in your hair. You want to use moisturizers that have humectants. Those are moisture binding agents. I recommend our hydration moisture. You can go on my website at lisakberry.com. You'll see all of my moisturizers. My natural hair page is wonderful. My transition kinky hair group, all of that. It's very wonderful. Transition programs. I have a lot for people who are trying to do natural hair. This last year for me has been great. It has been absolutely wonderful. And I'm sharing all of that on my website at lisakberry.com. So just go in and just stay a while. A lot of free stuff, a lot of good stuff for you. Okay, it says, can you give some advice on how to treat damaged follicles? Do you recommend Megatech, Jamaican castor oil, human oil, let's see, other growth stimulants? All right, I just want you guys to remember this because this is very important. Hair grows from the scalp, from the follicle itself, and not from the shaft. So putting things on topically will not help your hair to grow. Now, if your follicles are damaged, we have to determine if it's damaged on what we call a first-degree level within the epidermis around the lip or the mouth of the follicle, or if it's damaged on a second-degree level right in the dermis where the derma papilla is actually where the hair is manufactured. So an examination by a trichologist, you want a certified trichologist, one who uses a handheld microscope, and I'm going to show you guys the mouth of the follicle and all those things as we move along, as I promised. But you cannot repair a damaged follicle internally if you've hit that derma papilla and it's probably permanently damaged. Now, the only way you'll know that is by examinations. So make sure you find a trichologist, one that uses a handheld microscope. That trichologist will determine if you have first degree or second degree skin damage. And then they'll involve a dermatologist if needed, or whatever practitioner that's needed. Okay, that's the first step. Okay, now it says, what are your thoughts on henna for natural hair coloring? I love this simple puff, my simple puff. I also love the little bit of puff without gel down. Yeah, I think sometimes when the hair is gelled down, I feel like I'm wearing one of those fake clip-on puff weaves. LOL. Okay. Yes, let's talk about the henna first. Henna is great. It's protein. It's a plant-based product. But what happens, the molecules that make up the henna tends to literally smother the hair. I think the color itself is okay, but you will need to do the deep penetrating conditioner prior to the henna color, and deep penetrating protein and moisture conditioner prior to, and deep penetrating protein and moisture after the henna. There's a delicate protein and moisture level within the hair shaft that must stay balanced. And if you don't do that, then you're going to find yourself with dehydrated hair because protein will lower the moisture levels. You've got to keep it balanced. But other than that, henna is great. All right, the next question. I like your hair. Great, thank you very much. I'm glad you noted that you don't have to glue down the sides. That was a comment. It says, but with and someone, the next question, or the same person, she said, but with an all natural pomade, I like to know how much water our hair needs. In terms of misting our hair. Okay, that's all of her question. Well, pomades. You want to stay away from anything that's a pomade, even if it's a natural, somehow natural pomade. And the reason for that is because you don't want anything that is going to wax the hair in any way. Because when you do that, you are using products that are very hard to remove from the hair. They're not water soluble, even though they may be natural. I'm not sure what you're speaking of, but be very careful with that, because after you shampoo, you do want a squeaky clean. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about that, but I'm going to wait for those questions to address that squeaky clean. But you don't want to use anything that's going to cause the hair to have that waxy feel. There's a product that I formulated because I was really concerned about ladies who really wanted that slick look. I wanted products that rinse clean and that would give them those things that are hair and scalp friendly and not smother the hair. So there's a product called Hair Mud that I've created. Also the Sculptor Mist. If you apply the Hair Mud along the hairline, put the Sculptor Mist around it. It's a natural mist made with just products that are going to be very hair friendly, that are going to rinse very clean. Those are things that are going to be important. And then tie that down for the night and you should be okay. That's just something to try. But if you use products and you know what I say all the time, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So if you have something that rinses clean, you get a squeaky clean behind it, and you're not getting that buildup or flakes or filmy look on your hair, then you, by all means, you can stick with what you have. All right, let's go to the next question. It says, why does the crown of my hair grow slower than the back? I've taken asthma medication for years. For the past 2 years, I've been natural. I've treated my asthma with fruits and herb teas, but my hair still grows 1/4 an inch in the crown and 1/2 an inch in the back. Is there a reason for this? Well, the answer to that, we have to make sure we differentiate things. Okay, when we start speaking of medications, and it sounds like you're thinking that maybe perhaps the medication may be causing it, and then it sounds like you feel like you've got away from the medication and you're doing some natural things, but you're still having problems. Hair grows from the scalp. So if you have a 1/2 an inch on the scalp, then it may be in your shaft. You may not be obtaining length. It may not be that you're not growing, it's just not obtaining length. And you guys heard me speak about this before. Obtaining length comes from the strand and not from the scalp. You can grow hair, see that nice line of demarcation or difference, as I like to put it, the hair that's already there, and then that new little hair that wiggles up from the scalp, the baby hair. Well, if you see that coming through, then you're growing hair. If your density, if you part your hair and you have hairs per square inch consistent in numbers, then you're growing hair. But if you're not getting it on the shaft, then you're probably losing it through breakage. So I'm going to recommend that you recondition that hair by getting under your dryer twice a week with the conditioner. Again, back to the protein and moisture balance. You want to balance that. You want to use both within your conditioner. And then you want to hydrate and lubricate those ends daily. It's really simple, and you guys will hear me say some of the same things over and over again, but we want to deal with your specifics and let you know that this definitely can work for you. Okay? All right, so give that a try, and you can go on my website. I have tons of programs. It makes it a lot easier for you, and that's lisaakbari.com. Okay, let's see. The next question is, hi Lisa, I transitioned for a year and recently cut off the relaxer off my hair. I am currently wearing my hair natural and have been for about the last month and a month and a half. I got a trim a month ago. However, I still am not convinced that my hair is completely healthy. At this point, I feel like my hair needs to be cut extremely low in order to be healthy. My question to you is, how do you know how much hair you need to cut off? How can I do it? What can I do to keep super thick hair moisturized and soft? Oh, bless your heart. Listen, hair is all dead. Once it leaves your scalp, it's just dead keratinized protein. It's just dead, okay? Has no feeling. It's just nothing but dead cells, okay? So this is what you want to do. You want to protect it and preserve it so it looks and feels alive. And the way you do that is by cleaning the hair on a regular basis, which means, depending on how busy you are, at least once a week. Twice a week is what I recommend highly, because after 3 days we start to get this nasty buildup of environmental, cosmetic, and scalp pollutants. They get in the hair and on the scalp. And then I recommend the conditioning. And then I recommend daily conditioning. So you'll be fine. Now, will you have to cut it to the scalp? No. It's up to you. That is a personal decision. If your hair is not breaking, if we can treat it, we don't need to cut it. If we can't treat it, and if we won't treat it, then we should cut it. All right? Best to you on that one. Hey, Lisa, hey Lisa, how to trim natural hair? It says what are some of the cute styles that give some length? Okay, how to trim natural hair? Well, really, there's no special way. Some people believe that you should straighten out natural hair. If you're trying to cut and get a precision cut, you want nice even lines, then you're going to need to straighten that hair and then trim. But if you're trimming, if you can go to a stylist who's expert in cutting, that's their forte, then they will be able to pull that hair up, show those even lines, and cut through and just basically trim the very ends. If that's what you're meaning, it's no special way, just regular cutting shears, and that should do it. Styles with length, my curly fro, it's on my website on lisaakbari.com. Just go down to the natural hair page, and if you want to email me at lisa@lisaakbari.com, I'll send you a link. I have a very busy site, so that link would help you get to it easier and faster. But really, those styles, see how I stretch my hair out? This is easy. It's convenient. I do it because I work 12 to 14 hours a day. So, yeah, with my blogs and with my practice, it's just it just depends. There's so much on YouTube. There's so many folks who are just sharing their styles. I believe in quick and easy. So there are lots out there. So just keep looking. Lisa, what are your thoughts on Tangle Teaser? Tangle Teaser, I did a little bit of research on that, and I think it's a great concept. But what happens when you comb through, if you're raking through any type of tangles, you will create microscopic tears along the shaft, which causes a problem with elasticity. If you're not careful, you will cause breakage, because if the elasticity becomes poor, then the ability to manipulate comb style, the hair is going to be altered, and that means you're going to break. So be very careful not to use anything that's going to rake through tangles. Okay, remember that. All right, so that's about 13 questions there. Now let's go back to our email box and let's see what we have. Okay, give me just a second because it has timed out. Okay, let's go to our questions on, and let's get questions for Hair Doctor. Okay, as you can see that I don't type very fast. Let's see, I just wanted to question. I know we have them here, but this is give me just a minute, guys. For some reason, all right. Here we are. For some reason, they didn't come up. Okay, let's start with the ones that we got last week. We just have a few here. Let's see. Okay, we have a question here. And sorry about that, guys. I couldn't get in my email box for some reason. It says, I have a scab-like dandruff on my scalp. And it says in places. I stopped relaxing 5 months ago till I figure out what's wrong. So she stopped and she's using sea breeze and tea tree oil, but it still comes back in the same places. Should she go see a dermatologist? All right. Let me tell you what I always advise everyone, because number one, you've got to see the problem. So if we can see it, we can help you with the diagnosis. So the first step is you've tried some things. I don't recommend the 2 things you've tried, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But I will tell you the first step is to see a trichologist. You need a trichologist that uses a handheld microscope, one that is going to examine your scalp so that we can look to see if that is a first-degree skin damage, like just the epidermis is damaged, or if the dermis is exposed in any way. If the dermis is exposed in any way, then that's going to be a problem where you need to see the dermatologist. If it's not, then the trichologist can treat that problem. If you don't have a trichologist in your area, I'm going to make some recommendations. First, you do not want to use sea breeze and tea tree oil as standalone on your scalp. Sea breeze will dehydrate. It will help. It has some anti-itch properties and some other things that can help to make your scalp create somewhat of an environment for healing. But it's not the full package. But what will happen, it dehydrates. So you've got to make sure that you have a balance. Tea tree oil, wonderful. I use it in a lot of my formulas. Antifungal, antibacterial properties, wonderful. But it will sting and burn, and it will cause your skin to shed more the cells if you're not careful, if you're using these improperly. Excuse me. I have a program on my site, lisakberry.com, for scalp problems. So I would recommend that you go on my website and just go under the programs and then find that program for scalp problems, flaky scalp, that kind of thing, and that'll help. If the problem persists, you'll need to be seen. All right, thank you so much for that question. All right, the next question is, and I'm not giving names, but this one is from, let's see, so she said, I asked this question on your website, or your video, but I thought I'd ask it here, okay? All right, she was wondering, I think she did that. I got that answer about the roller sets. Here's another question. Okay. All right, it says, how to oops, I don't know. This is the kind of, I think she typed it a little too fast here. Okay, she wants to know how to go from perms to natural without cutting all her hair off first, and what products will she need in the process. You don't need to do the big trot. Go on my website at lisakberry.com, transition program. I just have this to say, new growth management. New growth management. You got to manage that line of demarcation where the new growth ends and the chemically treated hair begins. You get webbing and some other problems if you don't. So I would say just make sure that you go to the transition program. It's so easy, and that will help you a lot. And there are all kinds of tips, managing your new growth, keeping it hydrated, preventing webbing. And I'm going to do more on webbing and all that. Webbing is just what it sounds like, a spider web. And what I'm seeing is the hair goes horizontal, vertical, diagonal, and you end up having these hairs that pull right together, right at that line of demarcation where your new growth and then you're chemically treated, and it pulls the hair down and it begins to lock. So that's where you break because of too much stress, too much friction in that area. So that's what I'm going to recommend, that you go on my website for my transition program. That helps a lot. All right, let's see the next question. All right, let's see what we have. We had about 24 minutes. I hope I didn't lose you guys. After braid and weave and taken, oh, she used the braids and weave and it took her hair out. And she wanted to know if that would grow back. What happens, you end up with traction and friction, alopecia or breakage when you wear braid and weaves too tight around the hairline. Now, Depending on whether we've got some blockages or infected follicles around the mouth of that follicle, that will determine whether or not that hair will grow back. Again, I would recommend a trichologist examination. If that's not going to work for you, you don't have one in your area, then I'm going to recommend you start by, number one, using a clarifying shampoo, massaging around that area with your clarifying shampoo. Rinse, do that twice, and then go back and use the scalp treatment on my site, scalp treatment level 3. That will definitely help, and start trying to heal that area. At night, use hair vitamins, my leave-in conditioner, and a moisturizer, my Moisture Plus, on that area. Stay away from anything that pulls or stresses out that hairline, because that's really, really important. And those are things that I'm going to recommend. But a trichologist will be able to tell you whether or not that is a permanent problem or that's something that will regrow. Okay, this says, pertaining to the level of heat required to get most benefit of deep condition, what method would you recommend? What's better than the other? Body heat? She wants to know hooded dryer, steam cap, heat therapy wrap. She just wants to know which ones were best. Now, the most simplest way, the cheapest way, the best way, in my opinion, in all the studies I've conducted, is a plastic cap under a hooded dryer on 60 degrees for optimum penetration. That is going to be the best. Steam caps, sometimes you end up sweating too much under those, and you cause your body to dump the waste and salt from that sweat, so then you end up with an itchy scalp. Sometimes steam caps overheat and will burn. So the best way is a plastic cap and a deep penetrating protein and moisture conditioner, and 60 degrees, that's about warm, on your dryer for optimum penetration. That's my recommendation. Okay, the next question, and this one is, okay, says, is there any scientific truth to rinsing out your conditioner with cold water and the water to retain moisture and close the cuticle? All right, the water itself, being cold, is going to close the cuticle layer of the hair. It helps to tighten. Will it completely close if the cuticle layer is damaged? No. So if you want to rinse the hair with cool water, that's fine, but your conditioner is what's going to cause your cuticle layer to become more compact. Instead of sitting up, become more compact. If you balance the protein and moisture levels, the cuticle layer tries to shut down. Okay, but if there's tears and rips on that cuticle, and if pull in some areas, the cortex is exposed, you're going to have to do a series of those deep conditioning treatments to repair and improve the elasticity. So cold water is not going to stop that problem, but cold water is not something that's a bad thing. It's okay, but it does not, I don't think it's worth the uncomfortableness, personally. But, and I don't do it or recommend it to patients at all. Okay? All right, I think that's all of our questions today. We're right at 30 minutes. Wow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today to the session of Hair Talk. I will see you guys real soon. To God be the glory in Jesus. God bless you. Bye-bye.